folks, to a new and exciting quarantined issue of Off the Crossbar. We are not in the basement of a bank, but we are safe from the gunfire of West Baltimore, and we are not even together. Miss Morgan on the wheels of steels and the ones and twos, camera in the sky, filming us in our own abodes. Ms., what's going on?
Unbelievable. First of all, I think we gotta seriously sit down and analyze the contract for Morgan being the virus protection technician that she was supposed to be, because this thing's went south quick, fast, and in a hurry, right?
She either needed more Lysol or she's fired. One of those two. Because last week I was bragging on her. I was doing Donald Trump style praise. She's tremendous. She's the best ever. She's super tremendous. She's done a lot of good things, many, many, many good things. Now I'm locked in my house.
It's unbelievable. What time is bread and water at your house? Because around here, it's not. We got like 35 minutes, and
I got 3 hots and a cot. That's all I got.
Is that what it is? 3 squares a day, right? I like the velour. I like the velour couch, by the way. It's nice.
It is nice, isn't it? This may be my own little prison right now, but it is not as bad as Shawshank.
No, definitely not that. I mean, and you don't have Morgan Freeman either, but
I don't have Morgan Freeman. So, Ms., I tell you what, I'm losing my mind here. I can't work. I can't coach. My pets' heads are falling off.
Oh, that's it. I've had it with this dump. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah, this is something that's without question historic. I was trying to think last night. I was laying there thinking, in my lifetime, I was born in 1975. And I've seen a couple things that, will go down in history. And
right.
9/11 being one of the main ones. I mean, this will be right there with it, because
no question,
the impact that it's having on society is it's catastrophic, man. It really is.
The one good thing, though, Ms., that we have?
What's that?
We still have our house band, the Kelly Bell Band, throwing out the tunes.
That we do, yes. So we were very fortunate that way, right.
Fat Blues.
Yeah, no, we appreciate them playing for us, actually.
Absolutely. And now, you know what it's time for, boss?
What's that?
Time for me to find out what's going on in that dome of yours.
Well, I mean, it's a full capacity. Put it this way, this time, during these times, it's maxed out, brother.
Had a lot of time to collect your thoughts. Had a lot of time to put it all together. So it is time, Miss Morgan, for the mystery question of the week, sponsored by Ideal Health Chiropractic.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of time, I mean, we've had a lot of time to do things that normally, you wouldn't do, whether it's, organize old keepsakes or, in my world, I was a sports collector, card guy, just cards basically. But I got to organize all those old photos, that type stuff. And then you're reduced to watching movies you probably wouldn't watch. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So my wife had me watching some stripper movie last night with Jennifer Lopez. It was an absolute zero for me, but it did eat up 2 hours of time. So it can't be all bad. And I mean, anytime you're watching Jennifer Lopez be a stripper, I mean, there's got to be some
probably not a bad proposition. That's not that bad.
Right. I was going to say it could be a lot worse, So
it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. But the movie as a whole, I mean, I don't know what the critics are saying. I mean, if Pete Eibner were a critic, I'd like to see what if it were 3 thumbs up or the Fokker thumbs down, the cat, Jinxie cat, right?
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you give me a movie, I would be happy to break it down for you, even if I haven't seen it.
But here's what I'm interested in. Let's do this for the mystery question of the day. Because of the times, because of the situation that the world is in right now, but more specifically, let's narrow it down to Baltimore. So our traffic is typically absolutely horrendous, right?
Awful.
So whenever you get into the morning rush and you're checking out a traffic report, it's, hey, it's jam-packed at the tunnels and all that stuff. If Pete Eibner were a traffic guy, but it's right now there's no traffic, right? So Pete Eibner, our traffic guy at WHAM, Baltimore television, how do you spice that up to where it's interesting for the viewers? I want to hear a traffic report where you've got to kind of find something to kind of give it a little juice. You know what I mean?
So you're asking me to give – the question of the day is, will I give a traffic report when there's no traffic?
No. What would that sound like?
Oh, okay.
So basically it's a demonstration, if you will.
So, well, first of all, I don't see a lot of television in the morning, so I don't know what they do for traffic.
That's even
but I do hear it a lot on the radio.
Okay.
So the traffic guy on the radio is always in a helicopter, right? So, Miss Morgan, let's see if we can't get a helicopter queued up behind me, and we will go. Right now in 695, there is nothing coming your way. You have clear sailing all the way to the tunnel where, for some reason, one lane's closed and there is a 25-mile backup at 895. And if you want to go the other route, you can go to the 95 tunnel, the Fort McHenry, where we only have a 7-delay backup because there's only 7 cars on the road and we've shut down all the toll booths. And just to piss you off, we have fired everyone that could help you. Those places are. How is 895? How is 895 still backed up? How is that still backed up? There's no one on the roads.
But I will be honest.
25-minute backup.
You sounded pretty polished for not being a traffic guy. I mean, that sounded like you almost rehearsed it.
It's a gift.
Is it?
It's a gift.
So if the soccer thing and the insurance thing doesn't work out, you've got that.
Then I'm your traffic guy.
Yeah, okay.
But here's a question I have for you, Miz. We are in complete shutdown. There's nobody doing anything.
Lock it down, baby.
Lock it down, right? Can we get somebody to fix the roads? I'm driving on Forge Avenue the other day, and it's as if like a war went on.
That depends. As you know, with any time that there's something big that happens, there are certain buzzwords, right? So now the buzzwords include words like essential, right, or non-essential. So if the governor deems the traffic guys, the traffic construction guys as essential, then we might be able to get some roads fixed. I believe they are. They fall under the construction category, but.
Well, they're not getting the roads fixed. There's nobody on the road. It's a perfect time to work on the roads.
Very
and
true.
Yet our roads have never been worse. And I just have a question. You mentioned the governor. With all respect to what he's doing, he's ahead of the curve a little bit, but he's done a good job. But is he not turning into a minion? Does he not look a lot like a minion? What has gone on with our governor?
Yeah, he's probably way stressed out, to be fair about it. And he's probably calculating from the time he gets up in the morning until the time his head hits the pillow at night. He's probably exhausted. I mean, I can't imagine the workload he's got. And I know he's assembled a really good team around him, but even still, I mean, look, he has to make sure that whatever decisions are made, they're always going to come back to, hey, the governor made this, X and Y decision. So he may be getting all this information and he has to process it, evaluate it, and determine what's the best decision to make for the people of Maryland.
Well, I'll tell you what, Miz, that was a good segment. We got to get going. We got to take a break. The mystery question of the day was brought to you by my main man, Dr. Adam Maddox at Ideal Health Chiropractic. We are off the crossbar. We will be back.
Hey, everybody. A while back, I had a lot of problems with my lower back. It started with a muscle called my piriformis. And when that locked up, my lower back locked up, I couldn't coach, I couldn't run, almost couldn't walk. I went to see Dr. Adam Maddox at Ideal Health Chiropractic, and within 3 sessions, I'm back on the soccer field. I'm able to run, I'm able to lift weights, I'm able to train, I'm able to compete. And not only is he a sponsor of the show, but he's a really, really good guy. I consider him a friend. Check him out if you have any back difficulties, any back pain, even if it's in your IT band in your leg. My man, Dr. Adam Maddox, is the best in the business.
Welcome back to Off the Crossbar. I am the coach, Pete Eibner. This is my co-coach, Adam the Miz Mizell, in quarantine.
Never thought you'd have to say that, right?
Never thought I'd say that. By the way, we've got a great show lined up today. We got an awesome guest. The guest is brought to us by Grip Strings. These are the best shoestrings you can have if you're a soccer player, especially if you're coaching kids, because kids' shoes come untied. I don't know how many times a game, a practice. These things never come untied, Miz.
Not even when you're doing your neighborhood walk, or your neighborhood jog in isolation. You can use them then too, and they're not going to come untied.
I use them in my spikes when I train kids, and my cleats never come untied. They're awesome. My son's using them in his, so I'm a believer. I think the key is, Miz, they're rich Corinthian rubber that they put on the shoestring to adhere to the other side. Rich Corinthian rubber. But anyway.
Good thing they didn't go with the Bolivian rubber, right? But
yeah, that stuff's cheap. Stuff's cheap. Lance James uses only the top of the line, rich Corinthian rubber.
He's trying to set the standard. You know what I mean?
He's done a great job.
He has.
Hey, everybody. Pete Eibner here for Grip Strings. I'm telling you, these shoestrings revolutionize soccer. If you look, they have, I don't even know what it's called. I'm going to call it fine Corinthian rubber right there, which adheres to the other string. Your shoelaces never come untied unless you want them to. So when you're watching youth soccer and you see kids running down the field and their shoelaces are coming untied and they got to come out to get subbed, eliminates that problem. Plus, as a player, it's nice to have my shoes never loosen up while I'm in the middle of a game, and then I don't have to worry about it. I'm telling you, Grip Strings, revolutionizing the way this is done.
Welcome back, folks. Can you believe it here in Quarantine Central? Off the Crossbar has brought to you, sparing no expense, the best, the absolute best podcast we can provide on a limited budget. And now we have the guest of all guests, co-coach.
Who is that?
Oh, my goodness. This is one of the best players I've ever played with and against. This guy, one of the top players in his era for Howard County. He also went out to California and lit it up in California, went to UNLV for a year, transferred in to UMBC, where he led them to the regular season championship in 1991. And I think he had another one in there with the Big South, but you'll have to ask him.
Well, he's one of my favorites already because he went to California. Well, I love California, so he's already one of my favorites.
He's like the mayor of California. He's the one that told them to lock it down in California, Miz.
Wow.
But anyway, this guy started the Get on the Bus program, phenomenal program, which he's going to talk about. He started Ellicott City Soccer Club, and he's got his own consulting company for soccer clubs. Let's give a big Off the Crossbar welcome to Timmy Ryerson.
Hey,
look at him.
There he is.
How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Man, are you on lockdown?
Yes, in shelter in place, which is a little harsher than stay at home.
So where are you actually at, Timmy?
I'm east of San Francisco right now.
So it's 7:30 a.m., correct?
Yes, it's early here, but you guys are worth it.
I thank you so much. And again,
there's at least 5 people that would agree with that, by the way.
Kudos on that fleece. Look at that, man. Does he know how to dress or what?
The waffle knit. It's a win-win every time, right?
And by the way, Miz, you might not know this, but he is in the club. So
Ooh,
Timmy,
okay.
I say hello to you, sir.
Good morning, Tim, coach.
In the club. So Timmy.
Yes.
You starting off, just one of the things that just blew my mind. We saw each other at the convention. You were telling us a little bit about it. It was a big deal there. Tell us a little bit about the Get on the Bus campaign, will you?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And hopefully this can take our minds off of what's going on for a little period of time as we all miss soccer. But Get on the Bus basically came about. I was wondering why I wasn't having kids in Ellicott City in different pockets of Howard County. And when I did some research, I found that there were different pockets close to the Title I schools that I wasn't reaching.
Right.
And when I got in there, I come to find out it wasn't just that they couldn't afford the programs, whether it was rec or travel, but it was the transportation piece. They couldn't get to the practices or to the clinics, even when we were doing stuff for free. So the idea came along to basically go to Title I schools, feed the kids a healthy snack, teach them a life skill, give them a complete kit, because these kids had never played soccer before, shin
Right.
guards, shoes, a ball, a bag, give them everything that they needed, and then put them on a bus and go to our rec program. And
Right.
that was the idea, get on the bus. And it's been, since then, it's taken off. That was in 2018.
Wow.
It's amazing that I didn't even know about that. I knew you had the campaign, but I didn't know the details of it.
Yeah, so basically we started in 2018 as a pilot program in Howard County with about 40 kids. And then we went to 2 schools in Howard County. Maryland, MSYSA, recognized it as a grassroots program. And then U.S. Soccer actually contacted me and said, hey, we have this money in the form of a grant, and that program will be great for it. So from that pilot program, we're actually now in Las Vegas. We were supposed to kick off this fall in California, Reno, Nevada, Portland, Oregon, Connecticut, Helena, Montana. So it's just blown up since that pilot program in 2018. So it's keep me busy.
That's awesome.
Wow. It's amazing.
And
So,
it's
Tim,
a completely free program, by the way. I didn't mention that. It's free to the kids.
That's great. That's outstanding. So I wanted to ask you, because this is the for me, this is one of the most interesting things about what you did with Ellicott FC. So one of my friend's sons played in your club. This was years back, kind of when it first started. And we were at a tournament somewhere, and they said, hey, come and watch little Joey or whatever. And I said, okay, great. He's on field 2 at 3:00 and he plays for Ellicott City FC. And I'm like, Ellicott City, okay, whatever. Well, between that time and literally it must have been 2, 3, maybe 4 years, it just morphed into this legit club that, like, you're developing players, you have competitive teams, you have do you have both genders? I would assume you do.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you do it?
Well, it's funny, basically I was in California for a long time right after UMBC, moved back to the area, and basically we went to Baltimore for vacation. So my wife and I went to Baltimore with our son, and we went to the ocean. We went to Canton. We had a great time. Stayed down by the harbor, and then we just basically decided to stay. My wife said, "Hey, I can live in Maryland. I love it here." And so we went from vacation to being residents of Maryland during a vacation stay. And so then I decided to start the club, the Ellicott City Soccer Club. So that's how it all started.
Wow.
That's so cool. And look, working with you and playing against your teams, and I got to say, one of the things that I am most impressed with is your ability to build just a fantastic staff. Starting with your brother, Rob, who phenomenal coach and trainer, Carmen, just the crew you've assembled, outstanding. How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so basically we had like a social, and I basically called the network between my network and my brother Rob's network, because he had been involved in soccer in the area for a long time. And we just had a social, and we basically told people, I told people what I was going to do. At the time, my brother Rob was at Potomac.
Right.
So he was fine. He's like, dude, good luck. Good luck with that. Have fun. Let me know how it goes. We had 0 kids. Basically, I funded the social and I funded everything else with the club. So basically to start the club. And I just called, friends and people that we've known in Howard County for some time, like Wade Whitney out of Hammond High School, went to NC State, played with Tab Ramos. U.S. Youth National Team player. He was on board. Derek Phillips, Trinidad and Tobago, player, but also growing up in Maryland, and obviously his dad and everything, big family. So Sean Ray played with him at Oakland Mills. He played at Maryland. So we just had a ton of people that were like, we really appreciate that you're opening up a new club in Howard County, just as another option, really. And
right.
they really bought into the philosophies of the club. And it was all about, hey, we're soccer people starting a soccer club. And we had 25 teams right out of the gate, and we had 25 very high-level coaches right out of the gate as well.
Now, as far as like the current landscape, there was a call last week between some club guys and some admin guys and local guys within the community. I was not able to get on that call. I was tied up with something, but I think you were on the call, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay, like, can you just give us the Cliff Notes version of what it's about, just so the viewers kind of get an idea?
1 second, Miz. 1 second, Timmy. He was not on the call. Timmy was the call. He was the host. He was the big kahuna. He was the big cheese.
Hey.
He was the straw that was stirring the drink.
We were going right to the horse's mouth then, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it was just, in these circumstances, there was kind of a call to action put out there. There were a few points that Liber from Elite Tournaments basically put out there on Facebook. And for me, these are all club-centric kind of ideas that need to be dealt with. And I wanted to tackle just one. What are we going to do for tryouts for this
Right.
year? And so that was kind of why I jumped in. I mean, Ellicott City has made a stance that we were not going to have tryouts. We'll do some type of supplemental when we get there. But basically, it was about tryouts for this year and how to make it easy for the parents and
Sure.
equitable for the clubs, and how do we work together. So that was the first thing. But then what can that do moving into the future in terms of maybe there's a tryout period? And so the other thing that came out of that call was recruiting, because, there's this kind of elephant in the room about recruiting, quite frankly, where teams are losing players to different clubs and things like that. And so that was a byproduct of this meeting. So today I have a call with some key clubs in Maryland, and we're going to form a committee, and then we're going to basically come back to the clubs and say, hey, look, here are some guidelines that we suggest for Northern Maryland or Maryland clubs, and can we all get behind them? So we'll see what happens from it.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. And look, thank you for doing that, because number one, the tryout situation's going to be difficult this year no matter what. Number two, the amount of recruiting, both players and coaches from some clubs, it's appalling. The level, I had someone say, it's a race to the bottom, and speaking of one club, and they are way ahead of everybody else. I don't think it should be a race to the bottom. I think there should be a standard, there should be guidelines, and everybody should do things the way they should be done. It's better for the kids, it's better for the clubs, it's better for the parents.
Yeah, and I look at the league that we joined a few years back, when everybody said, well, what league are you going to play in with this new Ellicott City club? Because at the time it was all NCSL and WAGs, and you had to qualify, kind of pro reg kind of deal. But the CCL has done an amazing job of bringing big time clubs together with big time people at the helm, bringing in their technical directors, and them all working together. They compete on the field like nobody's business. But in terms of like what's best for the kids and what's best for the league, the CCL is far and away the best, I would say, organization in terms of working together, bringing people together. There's no reason why we can't do this in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I mean, it's a small world. It's a small network. We all know each other, and we could all work together. I hope. That would be my hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people don't want to work with people. I don't understand it. And I know it's worse up in your area than it is for me in Howard County. But still, I mean, we should be able to work together on these things. That's all I got to say about that.
Wait, in terms of like when you said you were gonna, like in that call when they were talking about maybe outlining policy or coming up with new creative ways to maybe say, hey, look, everybody kind of agree on certain ways to do things. And my question to Coach last week was, okay, if you develop that, there has to be an enforcement behind it, because if not, then you're just kind of peeing in the fan, if you will. So did anybody kind of grab MSYSA or any governing body and say, hey, look, if we do these things, X, Y, and Z, we need help enforcing them?
Yeah, so I invited some clubs that didn't make the call, and then I also invited the MSYSA, basically leadership, and they were on the call.
Yeah.
So they heard that there is a need, and so they're doing a call this Thursday to address COVID-19 and maybe some other things as well. Obviously, the breaking news today is there will be no state, regional, and national cups. So that just came out. So so MSYSA, I think, is open to it, but in terms of enforcing it, I think they can only endorse it. So in other words, we have a lot of people that are in agreement with this kind of stuff, that we can work together and come up with ideas. But as of now, MSYSA is taking the stance that, hey, we'll endorse what the members think we should do, but that enforcement piece is a whole nother thing, and that's where we need to get buy-in from MSYSA as well. How can we, if they can't enforce it, how can we self-enforce it? Maybe it's the clubs just work together on some kind of enforcement policy or policy to enforce these things.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. But now I noticed you, and forgive me, because I have known you for some time, and I've watched it through your life. And one thing that I will say is that you have a natural pull, if you will, to get in front of things and be in a leadership position. Talk a little bit about that, Tim.
Well, I mean, it's funny. I take it back to our time at UMBC. When I transferred from UNLV to UMBC, Pete Caringi was starting a program. Basically, he was hired. He had just come off, with the Bays, and Caringi was there at UMBC, and I wanted to play, and so it was a very humbling experience to go to UMBC from UNLV at the time.
Right.
And it basically, what I think it's important to point out is that Caringi taught me work ethic. Like, that's my whole thing about this off the field development, is very few kids are going to play at the professional level or even in college like we played. So what are we really doing with these kids when we have them in our care? So for me, Caringi's like the player's coach, right? Like,
for sure.
I haven't heard anybody on your show or otherwise ever talk bad about him. And for me, he was so instrumental in my life in terms of teaching me work ethic and to be on time and what it takes to be a good teammate. And, for me, I always go back to Caringi and what he taught me. And I can't say enough about the guy. I mean, we are so influential as coaches and administrators in these kids' lives. For some of them, they may have one parent at home or not have a parent at home or whatever the case may be. But they're looking up to us, and it can be good or it can be bad. And so Caringi was an incredible experience for me. I just can't say enough about him.
It's funny you just laid out like 5 things quick off the laundry list about Coach Caringi and the values that he passed on to you. None of them include anything about soccer.
Exactly. That's the thing I try to tell people all the time.
Right?
I remember the bus rides, like the music, the card playing in the back of the bus. I remember driving vans. Like we drove the van, right?
Division I soccer program at the time. Players are driving the vans.
That's unbelievable.
My last game as a senior, when we got knocked out of that tournament, the conference tournament, I drove home. So yeah, I mean, but it was such a great experience. I would never change it for the world. I would do it 100 times again.
But I want to make a point, not to deflect from Timmy and what he's talking about, but that was the program at UMBC. It was very basic until Pete got there, and he made some changes, and he infused this whole, I guess, culture. And now you look at it today, and yeah, there's some money kicked into it, and there's a lot of sponsorships with Under Armour, and it's great, but it doesn't ever get to that point without the steps that he took, and that's the part that I think is amazing. And we haven't even talked about the winning, so pretty cool.
Exactly, and to your point, that's where we met, and obviously there was some leadership there. You guys set a tone, early on when Pete was there, and I know you had played for him previously. So you kind of knew how he operated and things like that. But man, competitive practices, probably more competitive sometimes in some of the games. You wanted to work hard for him. I mean, yeah, I can't say enough about him as a person. Now, the soccer stuff, the byproduct of winning and things like that, we had great seasons.
Yeah.
In my senior year, we were 15-3-1. We didn't get a bid because back then, it was hard to get
Right,
into the tournament
right.
without winning your conference. But yeah, all the winning and all that aside, that's what I try to tell parents. And so that's what's important to me. The whole soccer piece is a small piece of the big picture.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You break up? Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, I never played for him, but from what you guys are speaking about, the evidence is pretty overwhelming because look at the guys even that we've had on this show, right? All top quality class guys. You get that from having mentors such as Coach Caringi.
Oh, if they did like the tree thing, like
The
where
coaching tree.
and he coached this guy and this guy. I mean, you don't have enough paper.
He's the Kevin Bacon of coaching.
He is the Kevin Bacon of coaching. By the way, Miss Morgan, throw that up there. That would be it. Put Kevin Bacon's hair on Coach Caringi.
That'd be fantastic.
Can we get that done?
I'm sure. I'm sure she'll take care of that. Yeah.
So you wanted to bring something up, and you're a pretty humble guy, Timmy, but I wanted to bring this up. Maryland Association of Coaches of Soccer, they gave you the award this year for the outstanding contribution in soccer in Maryland for your Get on the Bus campaign. And I wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
And at the end of this, we're going to show a little clip about the Get on the Bus campaign. But I wanted to it's not even a question, it's a statement. That award, for me, shows you who you are. It really, you've given so much to the soccer community, and it's gone under the radar. And a lot of people probably don't see it or know it. So that's why your recognition in that, I think it's pretty important. Tell us a little bit about your goals, your next step, the next things you're doing in regards to Ryerson Consulting or soccer or whatever.
No, I appreciate that. Obviously, I didn't know when I went there what the award was for. They just said, "Hey, we're going to recognize you. Please show up." So I had no idea. So they were pretty sneaky about that. But, our goal with Get on the Bus is to graduate 10,000 kids by the World Cup 2026. So that's the goal. So we've already funded or have been working with 1,000 kids. So we're 1/10 of our way there. 10,000 kids, everything free for them. So that's the goal. Wow. I have a great team, and Danny Barber, who I played with at UNLV, who's an All-American.
Awesome guy.
Played with the Blast, Daniel, for I think for a minute, and basically Danny and Amanda Buckler, who's a city parent, was a volunteer. Those folks, both those two, gave money first to Get on the Bus, and then they got involved as volunteers, and now it's a national phenomenon. So for Get on the Bus, we're going to reach 10,000 kids, and I'm hoping we can do that in Mexico and Canada as well, because we're all sharing the hosting in 2026. In terms of I've been doing some work out in California, hence the reason I'm here. My wife is from California. I do consulting out here. So my network in California, from the time I left UMBC with the sports management degree to the time I started Ellicott City in 2013, I spent my time in California. So I've actually spent half my life there and half my life in Maryland. So at the end of the day, I just want to help clubs. That's what my passion is. I've been involved in soccer since I was 4 when I got dropped off at my brother Kenny's practice. So, I'm the youngest of 5. My sister went to Loyola, played basketball and volleyball at Loyola. And my 3 older brothers all played Division I soccer, and obviously the older 2 played farther than that. So soccer's been a big part of my life, but the impact that soccer has made on my life is why I do what I do.
Awesome.
It's unbelievable.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out today to talk to us, especially being as early as it is out there, right?
Yeah, no, you guys stay safe and stay healthy. I appreciate the time. I love the show, and I'm honored to be on.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
Timmy,
you so much.
I wish you and your family, number one, safety and good health. And let's get you back to Baltimore. We'll have a Christos reunion, and we can celebrate me being the shortest back on our 1991 UMBC team.
Yeah, I knew you were going to put that in there somehow with Darius and stuff. But hey, shout out to Terry Locklear, who took care of me. I don't know if you can hear me. Terry Locklear, he took care of me when I arrived there. He showed me Baltimore, so I was in good hands. But I'll leave that right there.
Is the director of social activities in Baltimore.
I think he's actually a tour guide, isn't he? He's a tour guide, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
So thanks so much, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks,
Timmy.
Tim.
Awesome stuff. Be safe. We are off the crossbar, and we will be back. Welcome back to Off the Crossbar, Quarantined Edition. It's time for my favorite show, part of the show, Miz.
My favorite.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I got an idea, yeah.
I'm talking about the Patrick Swayze Player of the Week, which has been really hard this week because guess what no one's doing?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You gotta understand this, though. And here's a plus for the Patrick Swayze Player of the Week. It gives it more like value. Aside from ridiculousness on MTV, I think Roadhouse is probably the second most played, show, movie, whatever you want to call it.
It's on all the time.
Yeah, it's like a 24-hour nonstop marathon. So at any point in time, if you need a Swayze fix, you can jump on and watch him run double deuces and yeah, get your fix.
Polar Bear fell on me. Anyway,
that was Tiny, right? Wasn't his name Tiny?
Yeah, his name was Tiny.
Yeah.
But here we go with the Patrick Swayze Player of the Week. There's not a whole lot of playing going on, but I think we have a legit contender and a legit winner. Who do we have, Miz?
Pickings are slim only because there's no soccer being played, obviously. But given the situation and our quick analysis of, and we're not scientists, we're not experts, we're not lawyers, but we're just standard everyday Marylanders, right?
Every day.
Yeah, every day. Garden variety, if you will. So we've kind of agreed that, Governor Hogan's done a pretty good job and deserves maybe to be placed into that spot of Patrick Swayze Player of the Week.
So what you're saying to me, Miz, is Governor Hogan is the first non-soccer player to win this prestigious soccer award?
If my member serves me correctly, yes. And I would also go as far as to say we can look at it in terms of, what was the bad guy from Roadhouse? His name was Brad Wesley, right?
Brad Wesley,
right.
Yeah.
So he is the coronavirus, right?
Brad Wesley is the coronavirus.
Right? And Governor Hogan is Dalton. Right. So, you know what I mean? So he's actually the Patrick Swayze Player of the Week, but he could really serve as Patrick Swayze in the movie as well. And that would be pretty cool. Now Patrick Swayze being Governor Hogan, he has to rid the double deuces of all the guys and all the craziness before he can actually get to Brad Wesley.
Right. That's a fact.
He meets them. There's the standard compulsory glass table that's in every 80s movie. It's great.
And I will say this, the frontline workers, Sam Elliott.
Unbelievable.
They're doing a fantastic job. So anyway, Miz, here we go. Governor Hogan, this one's for you. You have earned this mullet.
It's beautiful.
That is a good look. That is a good look. So anyway, Miz, listen, I hope you and your family are safe.
You
I
too,
totally dig your Primus poster in the back of that.
Yep.
I don't have anything as cool. I got an Evan Eibner graduation picture.
And then, it's hard to compete with that, to be fair.
Hard to compete with that. But anyway, listen, man, look forward to seeing you. Can't wait to get on the field kicking the ball. Peeps, be safe out there, right?
Everyone be safe. Thank you so much, and we'll try to get another show in soon. I don't know when, but we'll see what happens.
You know why? Because we are off the crossbar. and we will be back.